Well, good morning. 4:20 at 2:02 p.m. Wow. Didn't mean to time it like that, but this discussion is going to be about time. And why now is the time. And it's not going to make sense until you hear me all the way through. What I'm going to do is try and do a somewhat short discussion in trying to clarify how we see time. And so it's been, well, first off, welcome. Glad you all are joining me today. It is a rainy, poury day. I mean, it's dumping it. Water's all over the ground. It's messy out. And so today I'm editing a couple of videos for you. I will be carrying all these up in town to do an upload as soon as I get these next two of them done. Two of them. These two are specifically because of my interactions with other human beings and my understanding of what I know about universe. I want to share this comprehension and understanding so that maybe you can incorporate this into your journey around the big campfire in the sky. So, and that has relevance to this discussion as well. So about last year, and I think once again 2 years ago, I got to be interviewed by a wonderful community member of ours, Niche, and she is up in the was up in the Pacific Northwest. I haven't spoken to her in a bit, but she had asked me in one of the interviews for me to share with you my understanding of time. And I was reluctant to get into it too much at that point because in order to discuss time, it's hard to discuss it unless people have experienced and understanding that are similar. And well, due to time, my growth, my understandings, and my thinking on things, I think I finally have a way to really cut this down to a small bite, a chunk of comprehension, and put it into some words. I know there's some other folks that are out there that talk about it as well, but each and every one of us perceives it in our own way. And why is it important? And we're going to get into the importance of time in such a way that it's really simple, it makes sense, and hopefully each and every one of you who hears this can take away some very powerful understandings, because all of this applies to the journeys that we're on and the manifestations that we make in these journeys, and why we get things we want or don't get things that we want, and why things work and don't work. So there's going to be two-part video. The first part is the time is now. And I just got done watching a video. Some of you will be familiar with Dunnigan Kaiser and now I'm gonna pull a mind blank. Andy Sheckman, thank you. The short-term recall has been fuzzy here, and I think that's part of the issues that we've all been dealing with the energetic changes that are going around. It is natural instinct to for the stresses that we all deal with to lose some of that in order so that we don't dwell in the now upon the negative events that have occurred. And I think it's a natural thing, and that's part of what we're dealing with. But let's get straight to the point here. And today's quick discussion, hopefully I can keep it quick, is got to be it is no shortcut for reading and studying all the things that I've recommended you do when it comes to understanding the law of attraction and getting the journey that you want while you're in the physical material here on our wonderful planet. So I recommend, go watch the movie The Secret. We're going to talk about that one in the next video. And then what the bleep do we know? The Law of Attraction, Asking It Is Given, and a lot of those books all around, even Dr. Wayne Dyer. And there's a bunch of people who've really dived into this. But getting the clarity of why things are so important and how you focus and change on things, how do you implement the power of the universe or the power of the law of attraction, are not easily understood by most people, because most people, all of us, me included, up to a point in time where I realized that it wasn't exactly like I thought it was. Remember, we have had our systems usurped. We've had our language usurped. We've had a lot of the things that we use in our comprehension of where we're at, who we are, and where we're going. All of those things have been twisted. We've had lies. So it's very hard to derive necessary, pertinent stuff if you don't truly understand how things work. So, long entry to get to what I hope will. Let's see if we can't keep it somewhat short. As I stated with Naish, it was hard to get into a conversation about time and explain time without having or be able to have a discussion without having both or all the people in the discussion up to speed on a lot of background information. Well, I've been thinking about it based on some recent events and interactions that I've had with people and our comprehension. Also understanding some things and observations that I've had with folks. I know, please don't tear him apart, Mr. Bowl Pony, who is considering himself an analyst of time. And there's some of the things I'm observing with what he's doing, which is very interesting work. It is, you can fight and argue with whether the outcome and the events are what you think or want from him or what you expect from people. Doesn't matter. The point is, he's unearthing and digesting the power of our comprehension of time, or he's playing it that way. And after much observation of it, I would offer to change his little label that he was given about being an analyst of time. I would want to change that to, no, he's not an analyst of time. He's more of an analyst of cycles that play out over perceived time. Now, if you understand that a little better, then we can hone further in on making some powerful statements here. Okay, so we human beings, all energy and all life only exist in the instant manifestation of now. Now, there is some further discussions that you can get into based on some of the hypothesis that Cliff Highs talked about, the 22 trillion times per second. I won't get into that because I think all of that tends to want to clutter the mind into what you need to take away from this video, this segment that we're going to talk about now. And I'll hold my conclusion till the very end, so that when I say it, it is the last thing that sticks in your mind about time. So, what is time? Is a hard one to put your finger in, and I think that the reason is it's always hard to put your finger and try to explain it or understand the difference in feeling of it, because in this interview I'm waiting for one of my videos to finish saving down, and I'm listening to Andy Sheckman and Dunnigan talk about how time in the last 2 years, our perception of time in the last 2 years has changed dramatically because some of the events that have occurred. And I could say, yes, our senses, my sense of time is also appears to be much different. In one of the videos that we were, I was saving down, T and I were noting, because we were out planting our garden, and we were noticing that, well, the leaves on the trees are not out as far as they were. We haven't leafed out as much as we had last year, and I wasn't sure about that, so I did go into my videos from last year and the year before in these dates and videos that I did within plus or minus a day or two of today being the 20th, and sure enough, the trees had leaved out at anywhere from what looks like a week to 2 weeks faster than what we have been in now. So things are changing, but it is our perception of time that changes and evolves during different experiences. And you all know this, as to if there's tragic events, very impactful events that happen, that time can almost seem to stop while things are playing out. And then there's other times when we're in kind of a slow mode and we're waiting for things to evolve, and they're just not evolving. Like, I can think of a big one, is everybody's been waiting for the equity markets to essentially puke and lose their value, because we all realize that nothing on paper or digital really has the value that it should, because it's not tied to physical things. And we go on and on about that. But there's one thing that time has been dragging on is all our expectations that at some point in time there's going to be a flipping of the system. So the point I want to make is, when you've studied enough and flies, every time I open the windows they all come running in here because it smells so good of stuff. Time, and anytime you do some studying of energy, how it exists and how things flow, because what we're talking about, I could say time, motion are the same thing. And we live in motion, in time, but we only live in the ever-present moment, or this moment, or the moment now. This is where we exist. We live in now. We exist in now. So when you're talking about perception of time, because each and every one of us is going to perceive it differently based on what we're experiencing at the moment, then you have to ask yourself some questions about what is time and why do we want to track it and follow it in such a way that we have a feel for how things are changing, because that's what we're talking about, change. So, based on my understanding of history and how things work, we, in and out of different technological advancements in and over time, have always wanted to keep track of, I should say, cycles. So we're going to change our language and change our word from the word time to the word cycles. And Mr. Polney does a really good job of calculating cycles, and he really does it good for certain things. He does. Knowing what's going to happen at the end of that cycle, well, you know, that's changed a bit, and he's gotten better about saying, hold on.